What we're looking at on the screen here is Google Stitch, which is a design tool, but it's much more than a design tool, because what we're looking at here is we have Buffalo Craigslist, probably the most infamous website when it comes to website design, because they purposely keep it terrible. It's never changed. But this tool isn't just about redesigning what you have. You can also use it as a creativity partner and to be more imaginative with the work that you're trying to do. So if you're somebody who has a lot of ideas, sometimes getting those ideas down on paper, then onto the computer and into a design helps you to kind of move your brain forward through the process. So this really quickly, what I wanted to show you is all I did was I uploaded this picture of Craigslist and I said, this is a Buffalo Craigslist. I'd like you to rebuild this website with modern design so it's elegant and easy to parse through and easy for somebody to use. And in about 90 seconds, it came up with this, which looks like more of a modern app. But the really cool thing about Google Stitch is I can click export, and one of the options that it starts out with is AI Studio, which is also owned by Google. So then what I can do is I can build with AI Studio. It already has the images in here along with the HTML, and then I'm simply going to say build. So then once this starts building in here, I've actually already done this just to kind of speed things up, then we can easily start to use the chat agent in the lower left-hand corner to mess with things. So I'm going to talk out loud right now instead of typing. Make all of the boxes have more of a shadow so they pop off the screen a little bit more. So you can see right now, I am really just giving it some design advice of like, hey, like I'd like to see this look a little bit different. So taking a look at all these boxes, you can see there is a shadow here, but I'm gonna see if it comes up with a more pronounced shadow in a little bit. But to give you an idea of how quickly this works, because literally there's no editing here, this is in live time, you can still see that this is working, that it thought for 8 seconds, okay, I'm gonna allow this geographic location, and then it pulled this up. So that's about how long that took, is from the moment that I pressed go to then, all right? So then going back to this one, you can see it's editing the files and it's going through. And while that's working, I wanna show you something else that's really cool. I'm gonna start a new project and I'm gonna say that this one is called, I'd like to build a calculator that helps people come up with the best options if they wanna start a podcasting studio. So it's gonna ask them questions and then it's going to make suggestions on which equipment fits best based on their budget. I've attached an image to give you an idea of what I'm thinking those questions should be in terms of look and feel. So this is probably going to be functioning more like an app. And what you can see right here is a little graphic that I've created and simply did it inside of Apple Notes. And then I took a screenshot of that graphic. So I want you to see how basic and ugly this looks, all right? So I've actually just done some brainstorming with this pencil, Apple Pencil, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click next. So while that's doing that, why don't we jump back and see if we have a more pronounced shadow box. All right, let's see. So I'm gonna click restore. So now what you can see is a more pronounced shadow box. So if we go back to this one right here, it looks like this, right? And just like that, we now have this, like pretty cool. But the thing that's really powerful is when you're at this stage and you're working inside of AI Studio, I can download the app. So I can choose to have all the download files. I believe I can share it right to GitHub. Yep, sync to GitHub. And then you can deploy the app if you can figure out how to connect with Google Cloud servers. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do on here to make this very easy. So why don't we go back here, because now what we can see, this is pretty much an all live time. I had to just make one edit because I made a screw up earlier. But this ugly, ugly design that I gave it, it said setup calculator. Let's find your perfect gear for your goals. What are your overall budget? So then you can see that. What equipment do you need? Okay, calculate results. And then you can see, I did not give it any of this information. It came up with your custom studio kit. So the Shure SM7B, that is this exact microphone that I'm using right now. And then the Scarlett 2i2, a Sony camera, etc. So then maybe I decide like, all right, for question 2 on the what equipment do you need, make sure it has the ability to select more than one option because you may need all of these things. So I just want to make sure that that was connected in there. And then what we do at this point right here though, is let's just roll with what we got. So I'm just going to drag and select both images that we've created here. And I'm going to say build with AI Studio. So again, we go back to this page. I'm just going to click build. So you can see here that this ran for 40 seconds and now we have the build in here. So let's actually kind of mess around with this because I should be able to interact with this and say, all right, I have $1,000 to $2,000. And it did give me the option to select everything. I don't need the computer. I'm gonna click calculate results. it's analyzing gear, and then it's going to come up with suggestions based on this. Now, again, I did not tell it what gear to suggest or anything like that, but if you owned a website that was, let's say, reviewing this type of gear, what a cool tool to be able to add this in and then save this kit or share this, okay? So the really neat thing though is you have all the code right here. And again, you may not be a developer. I'm not. I don't know how to develop anything. Literally, like making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is about the extent of my intelligence. But I do know that I can sync this to GitHub, or I can share the code with somebody who does know and say, hey, here's this concept that I'm interested in. Can you help me get this up and running? I hope this is at least inspirational enough for you to jump into these tools and start building. And I think if you start doing everything through Google, that you'll appreciate it later because everything is working together. Because you can see how easy it was to go from this chicken scratch design into a couple different pages here, and then immediately adding that into AI Studio from Google, and then the ability to change this. And same thing as before, like you can just use the AI agent at the bottom, and you just say, I don't like the logo you chose for Podcast Studio at the top there. Can you just change it to something else? So it's so easy now to be able to get the vision that you have in your head, or at least be able to brainstorm and collaborate with these tools. And then if you need to at the end, you can always pull in a developer, but you're going to cut your development costs by 90% because you're actually giving them a working prototype rather than them saying, okay, what is it that you want? And all of this took a few minutes. So hope you take the time, explore it, keep diving in. Don't feel overwhelmed. It's just you got to get in there and start messing around with these tools. And then with time, you're going to figure it out. Or at least that's the hope that I have for myself. All right. I don't know if you like the new logo. I don't like it as much, but you can see how easy it is to do. All right. Take care.